Happy Tuesday. We are continuing through the parable of the prodigal son. We're in the second half. I love this parable. Yesterday was on repenting. I returned to read beginning with verse 20. But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion for him. He ran to his son, threw his arms around him, and kissed him. The son said to him, "Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I'm no longer worthy to be called your son." But the father said to his servants, "Quick, bring the best robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet." So the robe reflects honor. It elevates him. When Pharaoh promoted Joseph back in the Old Testament, you might remember he put his robe on Joseph. The ring, the signet ring, the ring of authority, sort of like being given the credit card. You now have the power, and shoes on his feet. So it was said that that slaves were barefoot, but sons had shoes. So someone asked Abraham Lincoln how he was going to treat the rebellious Southerners after the war was over, and he said, "I'm going to treat them as though they've never been away." And that is what the Father does, and that is what God does. That is what the Father does with this boy, and that is what God does with us. Then the Father says, verse 22, "Bring the fatted calf and kill it." I remember hearing there were two people that were not happy to see. There were two on the farm, not happy to see the prodigal son return. One was the older brother, and the second was the fatted calf. But bring the fatted calf and kill it. Let's have a feast and celebrate. For this son of mine was dead, and he's alive. He was lost, and now he's found. So they began to celebrate. This is not what the Pharisees expected, nor is it what many of us would recommend. This is especially true if what Bailey writes about this is true. So I mentioned Bailey. He was this Westerner who lived in the Middle East for 40 years. He's returned and been writing very insightful books. He had a PhD in the Gospels, and he taught these parables and then learned them through the Midwestern or Middle Eastern eyes. And he noted that what the boy says is exactly what Pharaoh says to Moses after the 9th plague, when he was trying to trick him. That he never actually, so the boy doesn't actually volunteer to be a slave. He wants to be paid. And he doesn't completely, it's not like he completely comes clear. And he doesn't admit to his greatest sin, which was not wasting the money, it was breaking his father's heart. So I think we could agree we'd be thrilled if we had a wayward son or daughter come back. I can imagine I would say to one of my boys if they did this, "This is great. I'm so glad you're back. Wow, haven't slept. So glad you're back. So glad you're back. Let's go find your mom. She's going to be so thrilled, so thrilled. By the way, you're grounded for 25 years, maybe longer. We'll talk about it later." But that's not what happens. That's not what God does. We're being shown a message about grace. We're being shown a message about God's heart. He is loving and forgiving and waiting to throw a party for you. Have a good day.